I've always enjoyed the solitude of late-night walks. The stillness of the night has a way of simplifying everything, calming my restless mind. My name is Thomas, a welder by trade for over 40 years. I live alone now, on a sprawling farm, with my loyal dog Bosley as my only companion. The house is too big for just the two of us, but after Maria, my wife, passed away, I couldn't bear the thought of leaving. That night started like any other. After a long day in the workshop, I decided to take a loop around the property. The cool air refreshed my weary mind, and Bosley trotted happily beside me, occasionally darting off into the shadows to chase a scent. As I rounded the final stretch toward the house, something made me stop. I glanced up at the second-story window of the bedroom Maria and I used to share. For a brief moment, I thought I saw movement. A shadow flitted across the room. My heart skipped a beat. "No," I told myself firmly. "It's nothing, just my imagination." But the unease lingered. I hurried inside and climbed the stairs, my pulse quickening with each step. When I reached the room, it was exactly as I'd left it, undisturbed, untouched. Dust danced in the moonlight streaming through the window. Yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something had been there. The next night, Bosley's growl woke me. It was low and guttural, the kind of sound he reserved for real threats. My grogginess disappeared in an instant. I sat up in bed, listening. Then I heard it, faint creaking above me. My stomach clenched. The bedroom directly above mine hadn't been used in years. Could it just be the old house settling? I wanted to believe that, but deep down, I felt it was more. Grabbing my flashlight, I ascended the stairs again. The room was empty, just as it had been the night before, but the oppressive feeling was back, stronger this time. Something wasn't right. By the third night, I knew I wasn't imagining things. I came downstairs in the middle of the night to find the kitchen lights on. I distinctly remembered turning them off before bed. This was no coincidence. My sense of security was unraveling. I called the police, explaining that I thought someone might be sneaking around the property. 2 officers arrived and searched every corner of the house. They found nothing and assured me it was probably just my imagination. Their skepticism was palpable, but I was too shaken to argue. That night I sat in my armchair, rifle in hand, Bosley curled up at my feet. Sleep was impossible. Part 4. The Woman in the Room. The following night, I decided to confront my fears head-on. I ventured upstairs to the bedroom once more, hoping to lay my anxiety to rest. But what I found was beyond comprehension. Maria's clothes, which I had carefully packed away after her passing, were strewn across the floor. My throat tightened as a wave of panic surged through me. Then I saw her, a woman standing in the doorway staring at me. Her silhouette was faint, but she wasn't Maria. She was too short, her frame unfamiliar. Without thinking, I charged at her. She bolted down the stairs and out the front door. By the time I reached the yard, she was gone. Bosley and I searched the property, but there was no trace of her. That night I didn't sleep. How could I? Weeks passed, but my fear lingered. Every night I stayed alert, rifle by my side. One night, as I sat in the living room, I noticed a figure standing in the yard, illuminated by the pale moonlight. It was her, the same woman. She stood motionless, staring directly at me through the window. I grabbed my rifle and ran outside, Bosley at my heels. I fired warning shots into the air, hoping to scare her off. She turned and fled into the darkness. I searched the property for hours, but she was gone, yet again. Months passed. My life became a waking nightmare. Every creak of the house, every bark from Bosley sent my nerves spiraling. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. My once peaceful farm felt like a prison. I considered calling my brother to stay with me, but pride held me back. I was raised to handle things on my own. One night I found myself sitting in the dark, clutching my rifle, when I heard it again. Footsteps, this time on the porch. My heart pounded as I aimed the rifle at the door, ready for anything, but no one came in. The woman appeared sporadically over the following weeks, always keeping her distance but never truly leaving. Sometimes I'd catch a glimpse of her in the yard. Other times I'd see her reflection in the windows. Each time my terror grew. I didn't know what she wanted or why she was tormenting me. I only knew I couldn't go on like this. One fateful night, I decided I'd had enough. Bosley and I set up watch, determined to catch her once and for all. I sat by the window, rifle in hand, as Bosley lay quietly by my feet. Hours passed without incident. Just as I was beginning to think she wouldn't show, there she was standing at the edge of the woods, her silhouette barely visible in the moonlight. This time I didn't hesitate. I stormed outside, Bosley barking ferociously. But as I approached, she didn't run. She just stood there, her gaze piercing. "Who are you?" I shouted. "What do you want?" But she didn't answer. Instead, she turned and vanished into the woods. That was the last time I saw her, but her presence still lingers. The fear hasn't left me, and I don't know if it ever will. I've thought about moving, starting fresh somewhere else. But this farm is all I have left of Maria, and leaving feels like giving up. For now, I stay vigilant. Bosley is my only comfort, my constant companion in this unrelenting nightmare.